Kia ora. Oh my god, I'm such an idiot. I've been sitting on this thing the whole time and I haven't even realised it. Firstly, I've just figured out after my 52 that, I've been telling the story about the grandmother tree ever since I was 5. It wasn't, I was like 3 or 4. And I've just figured out, I'll put a link in the description box on my ex. I'm the grandmother tree. Anyway, so I've written this The Art of Creation, about the news crew and the fly on the wall kind of documentary style animated TV series story about the lives and times of the cast and crew of the Gatekeepers News Network, which I'm now changing to the Ministry of Souls News Network. So it won't be GNN anymore. It'll be MOSN, Ministry of Souls, or MSNN, sorry, MSNN, Ministry of Souls News Network. So they work for heaven, hell, karma, purgatory, reincarnation, the karmic courts, like everything to do with the life and death process of the human soul, based on all religions. And the Ministry of Souls is the department that deals with the births, deaths, purgatories, karmic judgments and reincarnations and all of that of every country, every religion, every thought-based process. We cover the whole thing. It gives you a whole unlimited series of stories that we can weave into the news. And because a lot of the stuff that we're going to be reporting on the news hasn't happened yet, because we're predicting the news before it happens, which I do all the time. There'll be news flashes, and so it's this whole thing. And I've been working on the characters in that, and one of the characters in the show, I had called her Miss Jodine, and I used to say I wanted her to be Southern, and then she was Welsh, and blah blah blah. So anyway, Miss Jodine and Friends, she's like a child's TV presenter, but because she's from the Demeter kind of Bridget bloodline of the Earth Elementals, she teaches the kids about how to, tap into the earth and that, in order to help with things like sadness and bullying. Like, she'll talk about the magic bubbles. I developed a formula to make magic bubbles that when kids are sad or they've got something on their mind or anything like that, they can blow it into the bubbles, and the bubbles will soak up that energy and take it off to Brehenies Aithusa, where in the cartoon you'll see the bubbles coming up. So like you actually see the bubbles, like because the news network is based on the star of Brehenies in the Cepheus constellation, which is real. That's my star, the star of Brehenies. It's in the Cepheus constellation, so the newsroom is situated on her star. So when you see in the background, like out the windows and that, you'll every now and then you'll see bubbles coming up, because they're going up to Brehenies, because she catches all the kids' bubbles in that, and then she helps them. She takes their problems away. She helps problem solve and remove their sadness and all that sort of thing. So Miss Jodine was this character where she's going to be working with puppets. In the cartoon, she was going to be a cartoon, but then on my streaming service, she's going to be like a real show, with a real presenter and working with puppets and teaching about like animal conservation, and teaching them how to like cook easy things, and like making bullying trees and earth elemental stuff to help ground kids when they're scared. Obviously the paranormal and supernatural, kids will be able to write in and ask her questions if they've got anything going on that they need help with, especially if it's unexplained spoopy things. And every now and then she may even go and investigate live in person at the child's house or the school or whoever. Every now and then she may have to make a visit. So You know, I had built this whole thing up with Miss Jodine, and then I realised today that there's only one person that can be Miss Jodine, and that's me. So now I've had to tear it all down, and she's not Miss Jodine anymore. She's Anahita and Friends, based on the Disney style Snow White, old school. I call it, it's Disney style Snow White from like back in 1943. I want it done like, you know, the old days where they did, you know, like the flipping of the cell screens and, you know, whatever you call it. So I want it done old school. So I need old school animators. Um, so yeah, so it's going to be like sort of that Snow White style aesthetic. Um, so yeah, so the Dragon Princess Anahita, she's going to present this show. So it's basically her before she becomes Queen Aithusa, Brehenies Aithusa, before she becomes the dragon that catches all the kids' bubbles. And she's going to present the show, and she's going to, you know, teach the kids to do all the cool elemental things, and cook, and obviously teach about animal conservation. And she's got a lot of people that she's going to work with, like her gardener is a hedgehog, Mr. Hedgehog. I mean, he'll probably have a name like Harry, or I don't know, Bert or something. But he will be the hedgehog who is taking care of the gardens at my real foundation, because we're going to have our own fruit and veggie gardens and spices and all of that, you know, at the actual foundation. So that will be his real garden. So everything is real, because Anahita's little cottage, which is in what was originally Andre's dragon, but is now the Legend of Brehenies Aithusa. And the Dragon Princess is kind of the missing years that you don't cover in what was Andre's dragon, how she became Brehenies Aithusa. Um, it's all, yeah, and Heater and Friends, it's all going to be like it's all tying in together, and I don't know how I didn't see it before. So she's going to have Mr. Barker, who's like the security guard, and you know, she's going to have, you know, like various animal electricians, and she's going to have some puppets, and she's going to have the boys decided on actors who look like animals, you know, so as opposed to wearing big cumbersome costumes, and that they will just have, like, you know, like in the theatre production of Cats, kind of that sort of thing, you know, with really good cosmetics and all of that. And Miss Jodine has got a friend called Fireman Aurelius Fox, and even though it's going to be a kids show, there's going to be this thing between them of like, are they together? Is there a thing between them or not? With when Dober Drexel is going to be obsessed with trying to find out whether they're actually having a relationship or not, because there's that whole will they, won't they, the way he looks at her, the way she moves past him, the way he touches her, you know, as he's trying to communicate with her, and, you know, when she has to call him in for something, you know, there's that whole, the glances, and you know, the way he's so tender with her. And you know, when it comes to the fire safety stuff, he's very sort of manly, lumberjacky kind of man for the job. But with her, he's very soft and tender and gentle, and you know, so like their demeanors change when she's more kind of demure, and you know, sort of more, a little bit extra polite and that sort of thing. And I know people might say, but it's a kids show. But when I was a kid on Sesame Street, remember Ruiz and Maria, before they got together, even kids knew that there was something between Ruiz and Maria, and also Bob and Linda, was it? The deaf one. Kids knew there was something going on. So, but the thing is, um, even though Miss Jodine will slightly sometimes appear on the Art of Creation, I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to incorporate her TV show into the art of creation. So when she appears in the art of creation, it's as her TV character on the TV show, because Doba has a young child, because obviously we're going to be talking about their lives in that, and she's got a young son in that. So, she's a lot of these parents have got like young kids in that. So they grew up with these kids' shows, and she's obsessed with trying to find out whether, she's like, is there something going on? But my kid watches this show, and I swear there's something going on between the presenter and the fire safety marshal. And so she has to find out, and because she's a karmic news reporter, she does stakeouts in that. But like, you'll see them going for walks together in the forest, in the Cali forest, and it will look like he's just about to hold her hand, but then like something will, like a bird will fly past her view or something, and then they vanish before she finds out whether he actually grabbed her hand. Or it'll look like, she goes to give him a kiss on the cheek or something, but then something will happen and then she's like, oh, so you never find out. So yeah, like, oh my god, my sons and I, like, this cartoon, we've been working on it, like, you wouldn't believe. It's going to be so funny. The comedy in it is going to be so funny, but it means that I'm writing Miss Jodine out completely, turning her into Anahita, and removing her from the Art of Creation TV series, other than what you see when her TV show's on, when the kids are watching the TV show, because obviously it's playing through the same network. She watches it being recorded, but Miss Jodine herself doesn't actually appear as a character in the show. Only what Doba sees when she's seeing Miss Jodine record the shows, and when it's on the TV, and when she's trying to investigate. But the only sort of talking that Miss Jodine will do will be through the TV screen, and that when she's recording her shows. Other than that, it's just going to be Doba spying and trying to bring like Shirley and all of that in on it, and just, yeah, like it just being a whole thing. So I'm so excited. I've had to tear everything down and start again. But oh my god, I also figured out why I couldn't see the design for the actual foundation building, but I figured it out the other day. I'm not going to go into it here, but it's all getting so very exciting. So I'm going to have hand puppets. It's basically going to be like the Muppet Show, but in Anahita's cottage, on the outskirts of the Cali Forest, where she works with all the animals, and some of them are going to be actors, with really nice costumes and makeup on, and some of them are going to be hand puppets, and yeah. And then I'll also be Brehenies Aithusa, so when the kids write in with problems or anything like that, she'll sit in her chair, with her crown on, wearing her lovely little gowns and that, in her armchair that looks like a throne, by a fireplace, or like in the beautiful garden setting, wherever, whatever the seasons. And be cool if I could do one in the snow as well. That would just be, oh my god. I'd be in my absolute element as the Snow Queen, because I'm a water sign, and in this side of the world, I'm a autumn winter queen. So yeah, so like it's turned into a whole thing. It's like it was sitting there the whole time. Been sitting there the whole time. Anahita's cottage, and what was originally Andre's dragon, is the bottom of an oak tree. And I didn't even see it. I got the tattoo on the back of my neck and I didn't even see it until now. This is what happens when you just remove yourself from anyone and everything that isn't a positive influence, eh? Like it just, my, yeah, I've blown my own mind over the last 48 hours with the revelations, with the seeds that have started sprouting up that I had forgotten I'd planted when I was 3 or 4 years old. So I'll put a link in the description box of what I uncovered, that I was figuring out on X, and then you'll understand why I'm making this video. But the whole thing with Fireman Aurelius Fox and Princess Anahita is just, which means I'm going to have to probably rewrite the Dragon Princess so that the Eagle King becomes the Fox King. But she doesn't, I don't know what to do now, because it's sort of, I'm going to have to figure that one out, because in the Dragon Princess it is the Eagle King, Yvonne. But you never actually know if she ends up with, I mean, it's yeah, it's a will they won't they situation, but in the Dragon Princess it's a won't they. In the Dragon Princess, the Eagle King kills the Dragon Princess. He kills her to turn her into, I don't know what to do now. I'm going to have to think about that one. I'm going to have to sit on that, because if she's Princess Anahita and friends, and then in the movie she's Princess Anahita, and then she grows up to become Brehenies Aithusa, it means who she ends. She's either not going to end up with the fox, or she's not going to end up with the eagle. And how does a fox become an eagle? They're two completely different totemic classes. How does a fox become an eagle? I'm going to have to figure that one out. To be continued.